You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Right now at 7, Joplin police investigate a stabbing that took place yesterday.
But first, a Kansas bill that would prohibit students from using personal electronic devices like cell phones during class.
And we are tracking thunderstorms pushing through the area. This morning's activity up by Nevada, not strong or severe, but we are watching activity off to the south and west. We'll go over the details with you coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Samantha Walker.
And I'm Chris Warner. It's just after 7 a.m. on this Thursday, January the 8th. We've had some showers. We've had some thunderstorms rolling through. Nothing strong or severe this morning, but we are watching activity off to the southwest that could, and very likely, some of it at least, will intensify over the next hour or so as it pushes into our region. We'll break down those details for you here in just a few more minutes. But another state getting involved with kids and their handheld devices in school.
Yeah, I mean, they may be checking for weather alerts today, but we know that's not what they're doing most of the time.
No, they're certainly not.
A Kansas bill would prohibit students from using personal electronic devices like cell phones during class, with some exceptions.
Now, there are several local school districts that already have those restrictions, but this bill would make it statewide.
KOAM's Tanya Bach took a closer look.
From a smartwatch to wireless earbuds, Kansas students could be experiencing a policy change statewide. Kansas Senate leaders introduced a bipartisan bill on January 6th banning cell phones and other electronics in K-12 classrooms. Not only would students have to have personal electronics turned off, but also inaccessible during class. Senate Majority Leader Chase Blasey says phones interfere with learning and social development, stating, quote, "We will ensure students can flourish, grow, and be free from digital pressure that weighs so heavily on a child's mental and physical health." The proposed rule includes phones, tablets, computers, smartwatches, and wireless headphones. The bill allows exceptions for students who need devices for medical reasons or special education plans, and students could still contact parents using school-provided phones. If passed, school boards would have until September 1st to adopt the new policies. For KOAM News, I'm Tanya Bach.
Now, the bill would also restrict school employees from using social media to communicate privately with students.
If passed, Kansas would join more than 30 states banning cell phones in the classroom.
That was something we were just talking about. I mean, we had flip phones, so the most we could do when I was in high school was text each other. But the technology now, I memean, there's so much more you can do with it. And I understand that the distraction it provides, because you couldn't check Facebook on those flip phones, but you can't now. So it's a little more distracting than it was back then.
Definitely. As a kid, as a person who was in high school, I graduated 2020, so we very much had cell phones and stuff like that. It could be a distraction. I'll admit, even for myself. I mean, I got all A's as a 4.0 student, but it could still be a distraction. And I'm sure
absolutely.
For kids who want to be distracted, it's even worse.
Right, so that's why it's good to take these steps. And you need to take steps this morning to be prepared for some thunderstorms that could potentially be strong to severe over the next few hours. We're going to start with our live look from downtown Pittsburgh, where, again, we've had showers, even a few thunderstorms rolling through this morning. That's why we got water out there on the roadways in Pittsburgh. Heading over to the Wesco camera, 7th and Range Line in Joplin. You can see the roads are wet there. We've had some rain push through. KDOT camera south of Pittsburgh, wet roadways as well. And we're going to get the same from MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line in Joplin. Now, the bulk of this morning's, the early morning activity is pushing out of the area. What we are now watching is what's off to our south and west. First, a quick look at where some of the heavier showers still are. So if you're on I-49 or 69 heading north, or maybe you've got somebody coming down south, some heavy rain, Butler, Nevada, Sheldon, Fort Scott, Mound City, even stretching back toward Erie, Chanute. Have a little heavier shower east side of Parsons, some light showers outside of that for Girard, Columbus, Joplin, Mount Vernon, really along and north of 60. And then we've got some heavier showers, some more thunderstorm activity beginning to push into parts of Elk and Chautauqua counties, and it's associated with this bigger batch. batch out here, which you can now see. I mean, this thing has really gotten its act together. If we back this up just in the past hour, you can see how this activity is coming together. It's racing northeast anywhere from 60 to 70 miles an hour. And this severe thunderstorm warning includes Oklahoma City. It's now, of course, not in our area, but it is, as you can see by the direction of this, moving our way. So even if we just track the leading edge of that warning off to the north and east, that puts it into our area again within the next couple of hours, depending on how quickly it moves, the exact direction it takes. So that's what we're watching. With that does come what has been increased in terms of a potential severe weather risk across the area, which we're going to show you. So all of this, again, this morning, it tried to get organized. It failed to do so, which honestly, it's good and bad. It's good we didn't have severe weather to deal with, especially getting kids out the door. The bad news is it didn't absorb any of the energy. There's not a ton of it as it is, but there's just enough. And because it did not, it's left this gap for these storms, again, as they continue to lift off to the northeast. I mean, and again, they are racing, not lifting off, they are racing. Our severe weather risk has increased a bit for today, not significantly, but a bit. We now have a level 2 out of 5, but it's for one specific category, and which is right behind me. Damaging wind gusts. Our isolated tornado risk, still the southeastern half of our area. We have that level 2 barely clipping Washington County. So an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out. Isolated large hail cannot be ruled out in the southwestern portion of our area. But again, our biggest issue is going to be with the damaging wind risk for Joplin, Pittsburgh, Neosho, Pineville, Anderson, Miami, Grove, Parsons, Oswego, Nowata, Veneta. That's what we really want to watch out for, is that potential for damaging winds. Quick look at our temperatures, and that's how you also know something ain't right. It's January. We've got showers, we've got storms, and we are in the 60s. 62 Joplin, 53 in Pittsburgh, because you got some heavier rain out there. The front itself still off to our north and west, which again was why ahead of it, we've got upper 50s, low to mid 60s to start the day. By 9, this is Future Track picking up on those thunderstorms out there that are off to our southwest right now, and they race off to the north and east. By noon, they're already along and east of the I-49 corridor, could still be strong to severe. In fact, this line won't exit our region until about 1, 2 o'clock. Once it does, our severe threat's over. That's going to be it. Now, as the front approaches later, we could get some isolated showers, perhaps a thunderstorm or two. But again, our severe threat's done with this main batch. It's getting ready to push through the area through the morning hours. So showers, thunderstorms out there, hovering through the low 60s. Non-thunderstorm winds out of the south, gusting up to 40. That's also what is part of fueling the energy for these storms. It's giving the atmosphere enough spin, enough lift that these storms are going to be able to become strong to severe. These temperatures come with a caveat, depending on where you are between our morning storms and that cold front. Some of you may be a little warmer, some of you may be a little cooler for your highs, but I think on average, most of us will make the upper 60s today. Once the front passes through, it does get a bit on the chilly side. We could even see a brief wintry mix, nothing crazy, but we'll go over those details and talk about a big cool down next week here in just a few more minutes. Samantha?
Chris, thanks. Joplin police are investigating a stabbing that took place yesterday evening. A male victim was stabbed near West 1st Street and A Street. The victim traveled on foot from where the altercation occurred and was located a little ways away. He was rushed to the hospital suffering numerous stab wounds, and there's no medical update on the victim at this time. Firefighters battled a house fire in northwest Joplin last night. Crews responded to the 100 block of North Maple around 7 p.m. after reports of a structure fire. The Joplin Fire Department declared a defensive fire at the single-story home that was heavily involved with flames. Crews contained the majority of active flames within minutes. The fire appeared to start from a trailer that burned in the driveway and spread to the home's exterior with help from evening winds. No one was inside the residence when the fire started, and the Joplin Fire Marshal is investigating the cause. The Missouri State Highway Patrol launches an independent investigation after a woman dies in the Webb City Jail. Tuesday, Webb City police were preparing to transfer a woman from the Webb City Jail to the Jasper County Jail when she was found unresponsive in her cell. Despite immediate CPR and emergency efforts, she was pronounced dead. The woman, identified as 41-year-old Terry Gaston of Joplin, had been arrested Monday for driving while intoxicated as a persistent offender and child endangerment. Authorities, including the Missouri State Highway Patrol and Jasper County Coroner, are conducting an independent investigation. An autopsy was done yesterday. The murder trial of an Independence, Missouri man is in its third day of testimony at the Cherokee County Courthouse. Kyle Butts is charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of attempted murder. It stems from gunfire at a home in Baxter Springs, Kansas in November of 2022. Authorities found 3 victims. 2 of them, Jeremy Murphy of Anderson and Craig Gwynn of Pineville, died at the scene. The 3rd victim, Seth Gwynn, was critically injured. Well, 8 schools in southwest Missouri are asking the Department of Education for permission to start the school year early. Emma McDarris talked to school representatives about why they hope to open the doors before most other schools do.
Some schools are asking the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to be allowed to start class earlier than the state law allows, which currently is 14 days before the first Monday in September. The 2026 and 27 school year is scheduled to begin no sooner than August 24th. Nixa school leaders say that late start would make their semesters imbalanced and gives them less time for preparing for state testing.
Our state testing window where we test for state, it's kind of the same time. So it's just that question, are we getting those days of learning in before state testing or after?
Also asking for permission to begin the semester early, Ash Grove, Wablo, Monette, Marionville, Dadeville, Stockton, and Walnut Grove.
What's best for kids in Walnut Grove may be different for kids in Sedalia and kids in other places in Branson and things like that. So I just am a big proponent of making local decisions that's best for our kids.
The State Board of Education is scheduled to take up the request next week. DESE has not responded to phone calls and emails asking for comment.
And those are our top news stories this half hour. Coming up next, Realtor Chris Forsyth is in the studio to discuss America's most ignored homes. Well, welcome back. I'm joined this morning with Dan and Chris here to talk to us a project they're doing called The 48 No One Wanted. Can you tell us a little bit about what that is?
So the 48 No One Wanted is a nationwide mission to buy 48 states and 48 houses across the lower 48 of the United States of America.
Yes.
We're super excited to get this ball rolling. It's going to be huge. We're going to be documenting the entire thing. So, yeah.
Why was this something you guys wanted to do?
Yeah, so we do a lot of this in the Midwest currently, so Kansas, Missouri, and we're involved in some mentorship groups. And so in those groups is more of a nationwide, we have more nationwide exposure. And so we're kind of taking the model we've been using here and going to use that model throughout the 48.
And it seems like you guys are looking at homes that really nobody wants, not necessarily like the traditional flips that you see people do on like, Fixer Upper kind of TV show.
Yeah, so we like a good challenge, and the past few years have provided that for us. And so really it's bringing value, there's a lot of memories in those homes. And we love to hear the stories of the people that sell to us because there's always a childhood memory, grandma, growing up in the homes. And so we love to showcase those stories every opportunity we can.
So, this is a pretty big undertaking. Are you guys seeing some challenges as you're doing this, and how are you navigating that?
Yeah, so we've kicked off in Arkansas and Oklahoma. We've already got some things in place there. And some of the challenges we're seeing, even though with the nationwide contacts we have, is you need more and more leads. So connections and leads are something that's going to be one of our biggest challenges, and making sure we stay out in front of those.
Amazing. And as somebody, you're doing this a lot because people feel stuck with a home. There's homes, since they're unwanted homes and maybe unwanted neighborhoods, they sit for a while. If somebody's stuck with a home and they don't necessarily want anymore, what are you wanting them to know?
Yeah, so sometimes that distress, we buy a lot of distressed properties, and sometimes that distress can be overwhelming. It can be a huge burden. And so we want them to know that we're always available to talk through that. We do a lot of creative deals, and there's a lot of exit strategies for them that they may not be aware about that our group can bring in and help them with.
Amazing. And, you've talked a lot about how this will help people who are homeowners maybe or stuck with a home that they don't necessarily want. Are you hoping that this will help people who are maybe looking for a home and don't see a lot of options right now as well?
Yeah, I think some of the resources we can provide for them, absolutely. So letting them know it's okay to give us a call. It's okay to talk through it. We take a lot of messages throughout the month, and letting them know that there is another option out there for them.
So the 48 No One Wanted sounds like an incredible project, and it's clear you guys are very, very passionate about it. If people are hoping to follow along here at home, how can they do that? Where should they go?
They should check out our personal social medias, Dan_Hope03 on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram, and then just Dan Hope on Facebook. We also have the Boring Real Estate Companies tags on Instagram, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and TikTok.
Yes.
So that'd be a pretty good place to get started if you're wanting to see more of the behind-the-scenes look of this journey.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much, Dan and Chris, for joining us this morning. It sounds like a great project.
We appreciate your time. Something we're really passionate about, so we're thankful to be here. Thank you for having us this morning.
Yes, we really do appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News, coming up on 7:20 now on this Thursday morning. Again, right now in our immediate area, nothing of major concern. We've got some heavier rain that's stretching back through parts of southeast Kansas, back around Parsons to the northeast side of Girard, Chanute, Fredonia, Twin Grove, Howard, Yates Center, back toward Fort Scott and Nevada, Rich Hill, Appleton City. You'd see lightning with this activity is actually outside of our immediate area up around Clinton. We're just dealing with some heavier showers, some very heavy showers up into Bates County, and then just some light showers along and north of 60 on the Missouri side of things. What we are now watching is all of this activity off to our west, stretching from Wichita. I mean, really, this line goes all the way down into north central Texas, and so we do have this severe thunderstorm warning that is in place for the Oklahoma City metro through 7:30. This is all moving northeast at 70 miles an hour. So this is going back 2 hours ago, and you can just kind of see how quickly it's become organized and how fast it's moving. Now, they have been, although not a major concern at this time, they've been noting some areas of at least weak rotation with this line back toward the Oklahoma City area. And that's going back into our risks for today, which we'll break down for you, with all hazards possible on these storms. So all of that activity, again, it is racing off to the north and east. And I think I set our storm track at 65 and just kind of trying to split the difference on the speed here. So it still puts it into our region probably a little after 8:30 this morning. Back up towards Chanute by 9, Pittsburgh just before 10, Joplin right about 10 or so. So that's why we want to watch this line very closely. This is the line that could give us the potential for some strong to severe thunderstorms as we go through the morning hours. You can see we had storms try and organize this morning. It almost would have been better if they had. They could have taken some of the energy out, but they didn't really do that. They fizzled out. And so now we've got this gap right back here, this dry slot, and that's what these storms are going to feed into. Now, are we expecting a severe weather outbreak today? Absolutely not. That's not the case. But the storms we do see are going to have the potential to become strong to severe. So as it stands, we do have an isolated tornado risk for the southeastern 2/3 of our area, and that level 2 risk is just barely clipping southern Washington County. So we're not overly concerned about that greater risk, but an isolated tornado cannot be ruled out. Same with damaging hail, large hail I should say, in the southwestern portion of our region. It's that level 1 risk there out of 5, and so it's low, but it's not 0. Our bigger concern truly as that line becomes more organized is going to be for any bowing structures that could lead to damaging wind gusts. So we now have a level 2 out of 5 risk for that. Earlier this morning, even going through yesterday, it was a level 1 out of 5. We now have that 2 out of 5 going through most of northeastern Oklahoma and stretching up into southeast Kansas, Pittsburgh, Joplin, Carthage, Neosho, Miami, Grove, Anita, Newada, Parsons, Oswego, maybe even into Coffeyville. So we're going to watch these storms very closely. Again, all hazards are possible, but our greatest concern is going to be with that damaging wind risk. Future track by 9 a.m. Again, these storms are moving very fast, but it is trying to keep up with them as the low pressure system approaches. This is where they're expected to be. They may be a little ahead of this. They may be just a wee bit behind, but this is, I think, so far Future Track's been pretty spot on this morning. These storms, though, as you can see, race off to the east. And by the lunch hour, they're long into the east of the I-49 corridor. Still could be strong to severe through about 1, 2 o'clock before that exits. Then as the actual front approaches, we could get another isolated shower or even thunderstorm, but our severe threat's done by 2 o'clock. That's going to be it. We'll be mostly cloudy, cooler tonight as we head into our Friday, and winds will ease up as well. We have non-thunderstorm winds today, gusting upwards of 40 out of the south. So showers Thunderstorms, some strong to severe, low 60s through the morning. We'll be keeping an eye on that. And again, depending on where you are, ahead of the front, behind the storms, your temperature today may vary for a high, but I think most of us are looking to the upper 60s. We'll go upper 30s, low 40s tonight. A light wintry mix, isolated. Late Friday into Saturday is possible. No accumulations expected, but some slick spots out there. Much cooler into the weekend. Warming up briefly Monday and Tuesday. Then we look at getting a real taste of winter by the second half of next week. That's a check of your forecast. We'll be back with more right after this.
And today in Health Watch, as New Year's resolutions get into full swing, a new nationwide poll shows more than half of U.S. adults want to lose weight, but only a quarter are actively trying to. The West Health Gallup poll found in all, 52% of Americans want to lose weight, but just 26% are making a serious effort to do so. Women are more likely than men to see themselves as overweight and express a desire to slim down, with 58% of women saying they want to lose weight compared to 46% of men. Pollsters say that the difference has been consistent since the early 1950s. The poll also underscores a long-term shift in how Americans view their bodies. Since 1990, average self-reported weight for U.S. women, men and women, rose by 20 pounds to 181. Interestingly, as Americans have gotten heavier, their target weights have crept up from 149 pounds in 1990 to 165 today. The results come from a telephone poll that was conducted November 3rd through the 25th among a random sample of more than 1,300 adults in all 50 U.S. states in the District of Columbia. Well, common preservatives used to keep food safe and extend shelf life may be linked to a higher risk of several cancers and type 2 diabetes. That's according to a new pair of studies out of France. The cancer study closely examined the impact of 58 preservatives on more than 100,000 people who were free of cancer in 2009. They were followed for up to 14 years. One of the findings, 6 preservatives linked to cancer are considered generally recognized as safe in food by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. The other study examined the role of preservatives and the potential risk of type 2 diabetes in more than 100,000 people who did not have the disease at the start. It found 12 preservatives linked with nearly a 50% higher risk of developing type 2 diabetes in people who consume the highest levels. 5 of the preservatives that caused cancer also raised the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Well, coming up, Pittsburgh's new fire chief is settling in after being sworn in last week.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:31. I'm Samantha Walker. The Nevada, Missouri Fire Department is seeing a significant change. After operating with a 4-man crew for nearly half a century, an extra firefighter will now be on duty during all shifts. They say this will make it easier for the department to answer multiple calls at once, as well as send more firefighters to one call when the situation calls for it. Now here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we are going to start with the Skywatch Storm Tracker, where we are continuing to monitor, again, into our area, some heavy rain. Thunderstorms now pushing into our far western counties this morning, and just getting some updates on the activity in Oklahoma. Now, again, I want to emphasize, we're not in a state of panic by any means with our thunderstorm chances today, but all hazards are possible, and it is something we need to watch very closely. Quick look at what we do have. We do have some heavier rain into eastern Neosho County. I'm a little too far north. Eastern Neosho County, back in northern Crawford County. Some moderate showers in northern Bourbon and Vernon County, stretching up into Bates County. And then just some good showers back toward Iola, Yates Center, Chanute, Independence. Thunderstorms pushing in west of Independence over Sedan, Howard, Eureka, all part of this complex. This is a bit of a messy complex of thunderstorms. It's stretching from just east of Hutchinson all the way back down into northeastern Oklahoma here, east of Ponca City or west of Bartlesville. What we're watching is this activity that is taking place right now down into Oklahoma. Now you can see it's well far away from us, now there's that new severe thunderstorm warning down there as well, but we do have that tornado warning near Purcell, so southeast of Norman, and we've got this severe thunderstorm warning that's now beginning to exit the Oklahoma City area, and you see those warnings, how they have those jagged edges on them. That is because they cross over into the Tulsa Weather Service office, so that's why they stop and have those weird shapes. This activity is moving northeast at roughly 70 miles an hour now at this point. So adjusting our storm track speeds on that, we will take it right along the leading edge of the warnings and drag this off to the north and east. So as you can see, times have actually sped up a bit because this line is sped up. Now, if it slows down, obviously these times are going to change. And I do want to emphasize, anytime we do a storm track, these times are not exact. All right, this is a good estimate from the computer based on the speed and what we're telling it. It's not exact, but we are looking at really into our immediate area sometime within about the next hour or so. These storms are ones that we, again, really want to watch because they're going to bring us that chance for strong to severe storms as we head through the morning hours. With that said, you've probably noted we have a level 2 out of 5 risk in our area, and that is now for damaging winds in this yellow zone here because these storms, again, they're racing northeast at 70 miles an hour. And so if we get any bowing structures where those storms take that curve shape, then we could get damaging winds or potentially intense winds with those storms as they lift northeast. We also have a low risk for some large hail out there and for the isolated tornado risk as well for most of the area. So like what's happening south of Oklahoma City, the risk is low, but it's not zero. And we do have a slightly higher risk, that level 2 risk barely clipping Washington County. So that's why, again, we want to watch all of these storms very closely. We'll be here all morning long, keeping an eye on them for you. Of course, anything comes up, we will certainly let you know right away. We're at 61 in Joplin, 54 in Pittsburgh. Wet roadways from the rain we got earlier. Cold front itself still off to our north and west, eventually pushing in to our region. Until then, though, look at these temperatures this morning, upper 50s, low to mid 60s across the area. By 9, you can see Future Track, again, doing its best to keep up with these storms as the low pressure system in that front slowly begin to approach us. They'll race to the north and east, and by the lunch hour, they're along and east of the I-49 corridor, and these still could be strong to severe. This is where our severe risk is going to be from when those storms to our southwest begin to enter our area within the next hour or so through about 2 o'clock. Once we get past that, as the front approaches, an isolated shower or storm not out of the question into the evening, but our severe threat is done by about 2 o'clock. So temperatures hovering upper 50s, low 60s out there, depending on your position between our storms this morning and the cold front later. I think most of us highs into the upper 60s. Some of you may be a little warmer, some a little cooler, but it is something that we are going to keep an eye on with those storm chances and, of course, those temperatures and south winds, non-thunderstorm winds, gusting to 40. We're going to continue to monitor these storms very closely as they get into the area, and as I mentioned, if anything pops up, we will certainly pop in. Samantha?
Thanks, Chris. Pittsburgh's new fire chief is settling in after being sworn in this week. Chief Jack Spencer grew up in Valley Center near Wichita. After high school, he attended the University of Maryland. Spencer spent 25 years with the fire department in Washington, D.C., working his way to battalion chief before retiring from there last month. The new chief says he hopes to bring his expertise in a larger district and apply it to the community of Pittsburgh. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour on the KOAM Morning News. A blast from the past. That was a must-have toy of the 90s. In Consumer Watch, the average nationwide gas prices are projected to drop this year. For the first time since 2020, the annual average price of gas is projected to fall below $3 a gallon this year. Gas Buddy predicts the average price per gallon in 2026 will be $2.97. That's 13 cents below last year's average price, and that means more money in everyone's pockets. Gas Buddy estimates the average household will spend hundreds of dollars less this year. There are always outside factors to consider, like hurricanes and geopolitical risks, but there's plenty of supply. The only fly in the ointment is diesel. The average cost this year is estimated at $3.55, slightly less than last year, but still above that $3 mark. Well, Character AI has agreed to settle multiple lawsuits alleging the chatbot maker contributed to mental health crises and suicide among young people. The agreement was reached with Google, Character AI, and its founders Noam Shazir and Daniel D. Freitas. Google had invested about $3 billion to license the technology. One of the lawsuits was brought by Florida mom Megan Garcia. She says her 14-year-old son, Swell Setzer III, died by suicide in 2024 after developing a deep relationship with Character AI bots. The suit claimed the platform did not adequately respond when he began expressing thoughts of self-harm. The company has since implemented a series of new safety measures and features. They include no longer allowing users users under the age of 18 to have back and forth conversations with its chatbots. And those are our top consumer stories. Let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. It's 7:43 now on this Thursday morning. Continuing to monitor showers and thunderstorms across the area. Now, again, in our immediate region, nothing has been strong or severe. We've had some thunderstorms. We've had some heavy rain. We've got some heavy rain just north of Nevada, again, stretching from Butler back toward Mound City. Some heavier showers, even a few rumbles of thunder. You can see a couple of lightning strikes near Hepler, moving off to the north and east. Moderate showers and even some heavier rain blended in between Fredonia and Chanute, Yates Center, Iola, back down south of Eureka, Howard, and Sedan. Thunderstorm activity out there. This activity is messy and unorganized, but it's very heavy rainfall that's taking place into southeastern Kansas and south central Kansas. And so it is just something that you just want to be cautious with, just in terms of the heavy rain and that lightning itself. So I'm just I do apologize, just reading a bunch of information out. We do have the threat for strong to severe storms within the next, again, hour or so as this activity begins to push into our region. Here in around Pawhuska, north of Hominy, stretching back toward Pawnee, these storms are not severe at this time, but do have that strong or that significant weather advisory, meaning they're just below severe criteria, and they're getting obviously very close to our immediate viewing area, so we're watching these as they may intensify. We're also keeping a very close eye on the situation down here into Oklahoma. Now you can see, again, this is still quite a ways away. But down to the northeast of Purcell, that dark red tornado warning box, that is a radar-confirmed tornado that is just to the northeast of Purcell, southeast of Oklahoma City. Another tornado warning just immediately north of that. And then these two big severe thunderstorm warnings. And again, the reason they have those weird shapes, those weird edges to them, is simply because, and if we take the radar, if you can see those weird shapes there, it is simply because they are entering the Tulsa Weather Service office area, and Tulsa has not yet issued warnings on them. They are moving northeast at about 70 miles an hour. And so again, just kind of following the leading edge of those warnings and dragging them off to the north and east at 70. Remember, these times that you're seeing, these are not exact. These are computer estimated times. If these storms speed up, slow down, shift course by a couple of degrees, then these times aren't going to be 100% right on. But again, you can see getting into parts of our area as early as 8:30 around Bartlesville, so that's the far western regions here, but into Grove, Joplin, a little after 9:30, because they're moving so fast, they will push through very quickly. So we'll continue to monitor these storms and these ones here if they do decide to intensify as we go through the morning hours. And again, just all of this racing off to the north and east, and again upwards of 70 miles an hour, which is just absolutely incredible. We do have a level 2 out of 5 risk in our area for strong to severe storms today, and that is primarily for damaging winds right here in this zone. So that's Joplin, Pittsburgh, Galena, Columbus, Oswego, Parsons, Veneta, Nowata. It's just a number of locations. Miami, Grove, Neosho, Pineville, Anderson. You kind of get the idea if you're in this yellow zone, because as these storms race northeast, they could get that bowing feature, which could increase the damaging wind risk a bit. So we're talking 60, 70 mile an hour wind gusts. We also have an isolated large hail risk across the southwestern corners of our area, and we do also have an isolated tornado risk across the southeastern 2/3 of our area. Hence, again, going back to what we're seeing in Oklahoma, in the Oklahoma City area right now, it's a possibility. It's a low one, but it is there. And then that level 2 just barely clipping southern Washington County. So again, we're going to keep a close eye on all of these storms through the morning. Here we go, future track by 9. This is where these storms are expected to be. And they will continue again to race to the northeast by the lunch hour. The whole shebang now along and east of the I-49 corridor still could be strong to severe, and that will continue. That risk continues through about 1, 2 o'clock before the last of these push on out of our area. After that, as the front itself approaches, we could get an additional shower or thunderstorm, but our severe threat's done. So we're not overly concerned about that. And we'll have northwest winds. They'll ease up a bit overnight tonight as well. So again, thunderstorms through this morning, hovering into the upper 50s and low 60s out there. Highs today, I think on average for most of us into the upper 60s. We'll go upper 30s, low 40s tonight. South winds today gusting up to 40 outside of any thunderstorms that we get. light wintry mix isolated, possible Friday night and Saturday. No accumulations, but slick spots possible. Much colder through the weekend. A brief warm up to start next week. And we may actually settle into January type weather in the second half of next week. That's a check of your forecast. We'll be back with more right after this.
Well, recent video shows that some dogs might be smarter than we give them credit for. An adorable escape artist surprised shelter staff after pulling off an impressive escape, unlocking his kennel and opening the shelter's front door to get outside Monday.
That's pretty impressive there. Well, this video captured at the Huntington Cable Wayne Animal Shelter in Huntington, West Virginia, shows a big brain pup named Dawson pawing at the door before finding the lock and turning it to go outside. According to local outlet WSAZ, the shelter said, quote, Dawson is a good boy, but needs a loving home to go to, not a life on the streets. That's impressive. Dogs and, animals can be pretty darn smart. Raccoons, they're becoming domesticated. They're figuring things out. Dogs already domesticated. I'm not surprised they're figuring this stuff out.
He was like, I'm going to take my search for a forever home in my own hands.
Exactly. That's what he's doing. He's going to show up somewhere. Well, you might know it as the Screen Actors Guild Awards, but now it's called the Actor Awards, and the nominations for this year were announced Wednesday.
Ariana Grande got a nod for outstanding performance in a supporting role in Wicked for Good, but her co-star Cynthia Erivo was snubbed. On the streaming side, Adam Brody was nominated as lead male actor for the popular Netflix comedy Nobody Wants This.
But his co-star Kristen Bell didn't get a nomination. In film, one battle after another, director Paul Thomas Anderson's latest drama got 7 nominations.
And the Ryan Coogler horror blockbuster Sinners got 5. The Actor Awards will be on Netflix Sunday, March 1st.
And here's a blast from the past. It was a must-have toy, and I had one of these because the Gigapets were too expensive. It's the Tamagotchis. Those are making a comeback as the virtual pet turns wow, okay, I'm dating myself.
The Tamagotchi's older than me.
I was 8, and I remember this because we got a Gigapet, but my sister had one, but they were so expensive. You could go to Toys R Us, and Tamagotchis were considerably cheaper.
Yes, well, 100 million of the pocket-sized plastic eggs have been sold worldwide since their debut, and an exhibit in Tokyo is showing off their evolution from those tiny black and white pixel screens to full-color displays with Wi-Fi.
That's impressive. Some nostalgic parents say it's a perfect way to give youngsters their first taste of tech. Tamagotchi fans admit it's a fun break from non-stop scrolling, a chance to unplug while still enjoying a little digital magic. Certainly very cool, very unique there. And like I said, I remember those things. I don't know, my Tamagotchi probably died a half dozen times.
Yeah, first taste of tech, but also first taste of anxiety.
Yeah, you got to take care of that little thing, or you're going to wake up one morning, it's going to have little angel wings, and it will have died. And then you have to explain to your child what happened to their Tamagotchi pet. Well, we got another look at your forecast, an update on our thunderstorm situation, and the Wake Up Recap right after this.
This is your Wake Up Recap for January 8th, your top stories to start your day. Firefighters battled a house fire in northwest Joplin last night. Crews responded to the 100 block of North Maple around 7 p.m. after reports of a structure fire. Crews contained the majority of active flames within minutes. The fire appeared to start from a trailer that burned in the driveway and spread to the home's exterior with the help from evening winds. No one was inside the residence when the fire started, and the Joplin Fire Marshal is investigating the cause. The Missouri State Highway Patrol launches its investigation after a woman dies in a Webb City jail. Tuesday, Webb City police were preparing to transfer a woman from the Webb City jail to the Jasper County jail when she was found unresponsive in her cell. Despite immediate CPR and emergency efforts, she was pronounced dead. The woman, identified as 41-year-old Tara Gaston of Joplin, had been arrested Monday for driving while intoxicated as a persistent offender and child endangerment. That's a check of today's Wake Up Recap.
And again, we're continuing to track thunderstorms entering our area. We have strong thunderstorms into Osage County, which is just outside of our area, and for northern Washington County, this will cross into the Wichita Weather Service area. So we'll see if any of that gets extended or if those storms intensify, which is not out of the question. Some heavier rain in our northern counties, but again, through the morning, our biggest concern is going to be this mess that is coming up northeast along I-44 at roughly 70 miles miles an hour. Again, this is still far away, but those 2 tornado warnings, both of those are confirmed on the ground. Now, for us, our tornado threat is lower. I do want to emphasize that. It is lower, but it is still there. It's not zero. All of this activity pushing through should be entering our viewing area within the next, I'd say, half hour to 45 minutes at most. And in terms of our risks, we have a level 2 out of 5 for damaging wind. That is our main concern. As that line gets together, gets organized, any bowing to that line could lead to some damaging wind gusts, especially in this yellow zone. We have an isolated large hail risk in the southwestern portions of our area, and then we also have that isolated tornado risk. So again, the threat isn't zero, but it is very low, but we will still watch all of it very closely. Highs today, most of us upper 60s. Cold front pushes through. We're down into the upper 30s, low 40s tonight, maybe a brief wintry mix, isolated, by the way. Friday night into Saturday, so no accumulations, but some slick spots possible. Warming up briefly Monday, Tuesday, settling into winter by the second half of next week. And of course, we'll continue to monitor these storms this morning. If anything pops up, we will pop in, and we'll see you back here today at noon.
Have a great rest of your morning.